This is Jen Krater of Krater Studios here in Los Angeles, and I am delighted to be having this conversation today with the wonderful Marval Rex. You may have seen him recently in what's your movie? The Abraham. I watched it today.
House of Abraham.
House of Abraham, which is currently now on Prime, right? I ordered it somehow. I think I got it on Apple TV, and you were wonderful in it. We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk to you because I think that you are a success story of being an actor in 2025.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I feel that way. Thank you, Jen, for having me. I'm so excited. I mean, you're one of my favorite people to talk to, and I could not be here in this moment sharing what I'm about to share without you. So thank you.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, just to kind of inform everybody about who you are and how you got into acting, like, what's your origin story? How did things get started for you?
Yeah, it's very interesting because I was late to this meeting because I was actually with one of my astrology clients because I do astrology on the side.
Love it.
And it's very funny. This is the synchronicity. She is my origination story. I was doing performance art. Yeah, that's the weird thing. I was doing performance art in Los Angeles at USC, a lot of the art world, fine art stuff. And she came to my partner one day randomly. This would have been 2019. And she was like, hey, do you think Marvel would want to be in my husband's short film? And my partner was like, well, he thinks he thinks acting is like a weird. I just had such an art world where I was like, oh, actors, who cares? Um, I know. Well, I feel like I often reject the very thing that I'm feeling called towards sometimes, like
Yeah.
humans. Why do we do that? And her husband is a dear friend of mine. He's also happens to be a trans man, and he had this really amazing short film that was based on a Twilight Zone episode where a
Oh, fun.
trans guy who doesn't want to transition and another guy wants to. He ends up getting cloned. So it's this weird sci-fi. I get cloned in this movie. So I'm acting. My first ever acting role is me acting against a green screen, which then I turn around and act. I'm acting with myself.
I love
Um,
it.
and I guess the quick version of it is that the moment we shot in location in San Francisco for my first film, um, and the moment I got on set, Jen, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. What is this? Like, why? How have I lived this many years without being on set? And that was it. That was the beginning of this journey.
I love that. I love that. And then clearly you and I have multiple things in common, but that was when? Do you remember? Was that this? So that was 2019, you
I
said?
booked, yeah, it's very funny. I booked that role in December of 2019. We shot and picture wrapped in January of 2020. And I was like, I'm going to be a movie star. I just was, of course. I was like, I'm Brad Pitt. And then the pandemic hit. So
Yeah.
that was that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when did you come into our orbit? Like, when did you join the studio? When was
I believe 2021, but maybe 2022. It's
Mhm.
it's either late 2021 or it's 2022, but it's been at least 4 years.
How did you find Crater Studios? Do you know?
I mean, I'm gonna give you my woo-woo answer first, which is that the universe was like, and that does not answer the question. The logistical answer to that was I was on Instagram actually, and I think you guys had run an ad or something, or you just came up like it was like something you might like, and it was like Creator Studios free audit, and I was like, to give an insight to my personality, I was like, I don't need acting class.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand, you saw me when I first came into your class. I was like, oh, whatever. But then I was like, well, it's free. Like and I was like, maybe I should take some training. Like, I don't really know anything. I'm a performance artist. I'm basically feral. I'm raised by wolves. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I took a free audit with you, and I just was like, in that first class for me was very intense in a good way. Um, because I also was across from a person who'd never acted before, and that was like a moment. And that was the beginning of my creator journey, and I'm so grateful.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. So this is interesting too. We're both from Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City, Utah.
Not like I'm like decades older than you are, so we didn't necessarily come up at the same time, but it turned out that you and I had a lot in common, clearly. And
Yeah.
then my recollection of you coming into the studio was that I was just blown away by fantastic energy. And if anyone knows me when I'm talking about actors, and definitely when I'm thinking about what it takes to carry leads in this business, like, there is a passion that needs to burn really bright. And man, you got to bring yourself to the work in such a way. And you came into the room with that kind of passion. And you and I've been working together for a while. And it's been really great to watch where you've taken things. So, if you were going to talk to yourself at the beginning of the journey, knowing what you know now, what do you think one of the best lessons that you've learned on set
Mm.
has been for you?
The first thing that pops into my head that is going to sound really maybe practical to people or kind of quotidian is you have to win any set, no matter how long the set is, whether it's a day player role or 3 months or 9 months like White Lotus, you have to come in with an energy of generosity. I
Yeah,
think generosity is one of the most important things to bring to set. And by general, I've worked with leads who are cleaning, like picking up water bottles and cleaning. Like I know that you don't have to necessarily be that level, but when I see it from number one or two on the call sheet, I'm like, that's amazing.
yeah,
And it inspires me. And part of the reason I start there, and it's not like an acting tip, is like if you bring good energy to set, I think it actually helps create like a magical experience on and off screen. So like off screen, and then it translates to the overall ending. The thing about filmmaking that I've learned is that you're basically creating a large spell with people. Like you're coming together like ritualistically and creating something that's never been made before. It's like alchemy. So if you bring a positive energy and a generous energy, it helps the overall product. Um, so generosity is one, and stretching your comfort zone with generosity. So like sometimes you don't want to be nice to the PA. And there's, as an actor, sometimes you're like pissed off or you're annoyed or you're tired because there's a lot of times you're up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. It's an endurance game that you can build. You can only really build by booking. Like you have to be there. And it's an endurance game where you learn to be generous over time. And like that's a big one for me is like even on day 20, can I show up and love people? Can I show up and love the sound guy or the sound person? That's a huge one. And I know that it seems practical, but like it makes a big difference,
believe it
and I
or
think
not, it's a
yeah.
small town, right? Like, you know, I don't know why anybody would want to bring anybody onto their set that wasn't wanting to contribute, like it's I my biggest lesson constantly that I'm offering to all of the community at Crater and anyone that, I can get my hands on is just, hey man, it's the golden rule, right? Like you got to treat people that you come into contact with the way that you would like to be treated in order to do the work that you want to be able to do. And you have to offer it up. And LA's it's an interesting town. I love Los Angeles, but it's a very me-centered
Yep.
existence. At least that's what it seems like initially, but as I'm sure that you discovered too, once you're on set, um, man, you gotta show up and you gotta deliver, right?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
so like the trends are what they are, right? Like we know that we've gone from the pandemic and then into the strikes, and LA's been challenging for a lot of people. But I look to you because I'm looking at your trajectory over the last few years, and particularly wrapping up 2025. Dude, you have been working nonstop,
Yeah.
right?
It's been
Yeah.
literally I've worked every month of 2025. Yeah.
It's an extraordinary accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
But I really couldn't have done it. I mean, I know like you're interviewing me and it's a whole setup and people are like, oh, he's saying this, but like couldn't have done it without you, Jen. Jen, I could not have done it without you. It's true. Like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And like it's been like, so you've gone from the short films and things like that, and I know you do other things because Marvel's multifaceted. Like he's a comedian. He's run shows, like, he's always got stuff going on. Like, he's a fascinating individual on so many different levels, which makes you a wonderful actor. But one of the things that's exciting about this year is you are really working your way up to and becoming number one on the call sheet.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, I just booked the end of the year came with a present because I like booked. I think I might be one or number two. I actually haven't got the call sheets yet, but like I am the lead in a feature length film that's actually like it's a like it's coming out to be maybe a two-part feature, like two features because it's so long, it's so dense. Like I have
Amazing.
so much dialogue to memorize, and now I'm like, oh my God, I get Timothy Chalamet. Like I understand. I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is, you know what I mean? And but I've
Totally.
been working my way up there, and it's exciting to end the year with an opportunity where I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted. Like,
Yeah.
and it is when it comes, it's intimidating. By the way, when
Yeah.
you get what
Careful
you
what
want,
you
you're
wish
like,
for.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So, like, I just watched The House of Abraham today, and you were wonderful in that, right?
Thank you.
And I remember you booked that, I think, after you had been in at the studio with me for a few
Okay.
months,
Yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah.
new. It was new. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's funny, isn't it, how life and the roles that are meant for you kind of like come together? Because I remember very distinctly you're doing a very powerful black chair in my room where you really cracked open
Yeah.
and we're really speaking from your authenticity and deep feeling, and then we move into that story, and I mean, the subject matter of that film is pretty heavy,
It
right?
was magical. I mean, the way you run class, and we said this literally at the last end of the year. We said this like a week or two ago when everyone was talking about Black Chair. Jamie Clayton said it. She was like, "This is magic. Like what you're doing is witchcraft." Because that Black Chair, I did. You watched me when I first came into your class. I was really emotionally guarded, and that's just because I'd never had a safe space to really. I mean, talk therapy can only go so far for me, and not that Krater is therapy, but when you're embodying your true emotions, you're kind of opening Pandora's box because you're physical, you're in the space with another person, you're being witnessed, and it's somatic, it's in your body. And that black chair, I really cracked open and let y'all see me. And I was really working through some deeply existential stuff where I was
Yeah.
like, the pandemic was really hard for me because I am like a larger than life person and I felt really contained by the pandemic. And I was processing some probably historic trauma in that black chair. And then I booked this role where my character is like, basically, it's not even a spoiler. House of Abraham is a group of people who are electing to commit suicide, and they go to a house to get that suicide facilitated.
Right.
And I felt like I was actually kind of in the perfect spot for that role. And I told you this, years ago, but when we shot it, but that role was deeply cathartic for me. Like I was able to process even more outside of Black Chair through the role of Alex, who I play in House of Abraham.
So it's interesting talking to you about that because from my perspective, as as your teacher, like, I have never thought that you were not connected to your emotions.
Mm,
But I do work very intently with the actors that I do work with in terms of really deep listening. And so
yeah,
I know when a moment moves an actor compared to when an actor, takes themselves there. And we work a lot, as you know, with the moment to moment experience. And so what was fascinating about being able to see that today was that, the subject matter was heavy, but like, you actually come out of that film as like the most sane person of all of the people there. And I was just really struck in your performance by how grounded you were, and then how charismatic,
yeah.
your character came off, which was really impressive. So congratulations. I think you did something really nice in that film.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. House of Abraham is really cool for me because he- um I won't name names because he actually asked not to be named, but a major casting director, major. We're talking like he casts oh my
Don't
God,
say
what's
it because people
yeah,
figure it out.
I'll figure it out. But anyway, he cast like major A-list celebrities. He reached out to the director and said, he said things about Lynn Shay and Natasha Henstridge, but then right at the end, he left this note being like, I had no idea who Marvel Rex was, and his performance like bowled me over by how contained it was, but how, although it was contained and grounded, it was so powerful and impactful. Um, and my director forwarded it to me because she was like, "Don't tell anyone, but this is insane. Like, this is amazing that you impacted this person." And you know that I like to go big and be crazy, and that role really required me to. I mean, I have to get into the headspace of somebody who doesn't want to live. So that's a
Right.
really interesting place to be.
Right. Right. And one of the things that I just love about you is like the huge risks that you take in class, right? Because like now you've been back and it's really great to like have an actor who's been on set on the regular like come back in and then because
That's true.
you're operating at a show level, you know, and like I think that training's important, but I think ultimately the where an artist really finds their footing and their voice is when you're, you know, out in the wild and you're doing what you need to do in front of the lens. And anyway, like bringing you back in, you never hesitate to take enormous risks. Like I think I'm correct in the upcoming film that you're doing, you're working with an accent. Is that true?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I play an Australian in the next film, the where I'm
Yeah.
like either one or two on the call sheet. I think I might be two, but anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I the
Right.
accents are
And
a whole thing.
like, you know, it's just interesting because I've had a lot of people who will get stuck right there, you know, from time to time. And what I appreciate about the kind of actor that you are is that you come into the room and you're just like, this is my time. I'm working my hours here to get exactly what I need out of my class. And you just like go after it. And I was just really excited
Yeah.
when you booked your next project. So are you in a position where you can say what the name of the movie is, or is it still under wraps?
It
I don't
is
want to get you in trouble. So
no, yeah. I think I can say the title. It's called 1942: The Platypus's Gambit.
interesting.
Um, I oh yeah, and and I'll give just a little bit to tease people. I'm really excited about this one. It is essentially a satirical comedy that pushes Inglorious Bastards, which is one of Tarantino's most famous films.
Yeah.
It pushes Inglorious Bastards into this really kind of wild Australian psychedelic fever dream. It's not the same plot, but it is an anti-Nazi plot. So that's the corollary. It's all based on historical events from World War
Cool.
II. So
Amazing.
it's a war comedy that takes the funny parts of Inglorious and just like pushes it. But it's all Australians, Italian. It's like you're gonna love it because it's Italians, Australians, French, a couple Brits, and it's this international satirical comedy. And I get to improvise. The director was like, "We're gonna improvise," and I'm like, "Thank God,"
My
you know.
cat's joined us.
Yeah, I love that.
I love that. I love that. So, so talk to us a little bit more about what your year's been like. So we're wrapping it up with a really big booking that's taking you in the direction you want to go in 2026, which is huge, right? So last year, when you were walking into 2025, when did things start cooking?
Well, I'll be really transparent because like I'll just let y'all into my process. Why not? I did a one-man show in October of 2024 that was like my it was probably the most vulnerable work that I've done outside of Black Chair. Like I was like, hey, this is my story. This is where I come from, Salt Lake City, Utah. This is my relationship to my
What was the name
mother.
of that show,
It's
too?
called it's called Rexodus.
Rexodus.
And it talks about like me transitioning like gender but also my faith journey and like discovering I'm Jewish and like all sorts of complicated things that happened in my life that are almost hard to like they're so synchronistic it's almost like unbelievable that it happened. And the fact that the Mormons had the records of my Jewish family, like crazy stuff that you just can't
Amazing.
make up. Life is stranger than fiction. So
Truly.
when I wrote Rexodus, I wrote it with this incredible dramaturg named Diana Wyan, and she was able, kind of like you, she was this pillar and this reflection pool for me, and she pulled out the most vulnerable parts of the story. And I had this feeling when I was writing with her where I was like, I need to do Rexodus. I need to come out and tell my story because if I don't do that, my career's never going to start. I said that to myself. I
Oh,
said that like out loud. I wrote it down. I was like, this is the key to unlocking. You know how you always tell Mark to like throw a javelin? I was
yeah.
like, this is a fucking javelin.
Javelin. I
Like
love that.
like I have to let people know because this is the stuff that really scares me. I'm not actually scared of a lot of things, but like my relationship to my mother is really sacred. My relationship to my childhood is really complicated. I grew up in Salt Lake City. You know how it is. Like
Yeah.
not easy. Um, and literally once we did that in October of 2024. We did the show, we did it twice, and it's still continuing. We're still working on that project behind the scenes, but that's when I like booked two features back to back. Like I booked a feature in December and then I booked a feature in for January of 25. So I finished the show and it was like a spell, and all of a sudden it was like boom boom, like two
Right.
features. I shot a short film in between the two shows. Like Rexodus performed one night, and then a week later, Rexodus performed again, and I shot a short film in between. Like it was a crazy moment where I was like, how did I don't know how I knew that, but I just knew that I had to kind of like birth the thing that I was scared of. And that's what I would say to people listening is like the
Right.
very thing you're the most scared of, find a way to artistically show it to people.
100%. And I also just listening to you, uh, people talk in LA, right? It's like, oh, like why even take an acting class? And I understand like not every process is for everyone. But what I do understand as an artist is that when you are in the throes of working your program artistically, you have those types of self-discovery where you
Yes.
become self-aware in terms of what you need to do and things surface. And in my experience working with talented actors such as yourself, is that it's an opportunity to first of all, have those impulses come forward. And then second of all, have the intuition and the, insight to be like, no, I need to listen to this and I need to take action and go out and do it. And I think it's really extraordinary because I believe that at that point we were working our way through um, representative. You were changing reps at that
Yep.
time,
Yep.
and so like so much of the conversation post strike has been like how quiet everything is, and like the conversations that everybody in LA happens to be having. But you are, I mean, again, coming back to it, like you have not let that conversation slow your roll.
Yep.
Like you, and what you've done is you've self-generated work. And
All
it
of it. Yeah.
started with your creating your show,
Yep.
right? And that gave you creative, sustainability to go ahead and like book your films,
Yep.
right? And so are those two movies available? Can people see them?
There's one you can definitely find on, I believe, Prime, Tubi, so Amazon, Tubi, I believe Apple TV, you can watch. It's called 1 Mile High Club. I'm actually in that with Andrew Tong, who also practices and
Oh,
trains
yeah.
at
Is
Krater.
that where you met Andrew? Okay,
So
cool.
that's I met Andrew on the feature we shot in December. It's 1 Mile High Club. It's a 70s sex comedy. It's
He
hilarious.
just did his first lead this
Yeah,
year too,
it's amazing. And I saw him. I was like, oh, you've got it, honey. I was like, oh yes. So I'm so glad that
Lovely.
he's
Another
he's
Midwestern, he's from Colorado or no, Ohio,
oh,
something. I don't know.
yeah,
So I just see snow when I think about
exactly.
it.
Um, and I wanted to say one thing about what you just said because it was so beautiful, which was like one of my mentors is Mark Duplass of the Duplass brothers. And Mark always says this, and Jay always says this, which is like, and my partner always says this too, and she's been producing in Hollywood forever. It's like, if you have an idea, like find a way to get it, find a way to make it, even if it feels like there's a million ways your brain can come up with roadblocks. Like we always are good at making excuses. But if you can follow through, and a few of people at Crater have been like, I have this short film or I have this web series, and they've done it, and it
Yeah,
does open up more opportunities. That's how Duplass built its entire thing. It is through self-creating, finding ways to make stuff. Yeah.
I love that. And so you like came into the year, you booked a couple of films,
Yeah.
and then you also moved into the vertical market. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
you
was so
know,
interesting. Yeah. Oh, go
like
ahead. Yeah.
no, it's just like, look, you would have to be an idiot to not understand that there's going to be a large portion of the business that's going to move in that direction.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like it's great training ground for
Yes.
people to get on set
Yes.
and need to find their way, to do the work, right?
Yes.
And so I've seen a couple of yours. I mean, obviously you did the bump, was it Bump and Spark with JJ
Bump to Spark with JJ
Michaels?
Michaels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who also is a creator client, and and like you have so many, right? But like how many of those have you done this year?
I've done, let's see, verticals. Oh my gosh. I need to count. And this is a funny thing because Andrew, I was like talking to Andrew, I was like, oh shit, I need to count. I would guess, just like if I was doing a larger guess, I would say I've done probably two verticals a month this year. So it's yeah, 20, about 20. We're in the 20s. We're in the 20s.
You're putting hours in on set.
Oh, so much. So
Oh
much
my
time.
God. And you've flown like all over the place, right? Like not only have you shot in LA, but you've gone back to New York and a
New
variety of
York.
places. Yeah.
Yeah, New York, San Francisco, and then they've been wanting to get me out to China. I haven't actually made the leap to China yet. That's like a whole other conversation for so many reasons. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, I look, the vertical, that's a whole other totally like separate conversation. But I will say the one thing I love about verticals is that they're giving opportunities in an ecosystem that is like resetting itself. Like Hollywood is very hard to break into, and verticals are actually allowing a runway for so many people. And I've met honestly just a ton of really cool people on set, mostly awesome people.
Yeah.
And there's, like you said, I always hear your voice in my head when I'm on set, but you're like, this is like there's no training like set training, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what's one of your best lessons, like, of, applying something that you've learned in class and then taking it onto set?
Yes. Oof, there's so many, Jen, but I think I'm trying to think of like the most important one. Honestly, I feel like the one of the biggest takeaways that I get from creator training when I'm on set is that when the director or the producers or even background who are like creating some kind of dynamic that in your head when you read the script wasn't happening, the cool thing about Instinct, which is your class, is I'm like, fuck, okay, this is not what I had. Nope, we have no parachute. Great. We have no parachute. Let's go. And there's a level of and actually really truly because of Instinct, I have booked a lot of roles because they hand me a new, like, when you come in for a callback and you're like, I'm going to play the role of John, and they're like, we actually want you to read for Paul, and you're like, what the fuck? I memorized John's lines. The amount of times where I have been handed a fresh set of pages,
Yeah.
which happens in Hollywood a lot, like Transparent, which my partner produced. Joey Soloway would rewrite pages at 4 a.m. The actors would
Yeah.
get new pages at
Right.
6 a.m. when they showed up. Your technique makes it so it's like, let's have fucking, oh, okay, we
Yeah.
we got no parachute.
Great.
Let's do this. Exactly. There's an element where I'm like, I lean into the chaos because in Instinct class, we have to show up and just be present. And so I'm trained to just be present. And from there, I can improvise. From there, I have good ideas. From there, I'm working off of my partner. And that's like the biggest thing. I don't get scared on set
Yeah.
in terms
That's
of
so big,
content.
Yeah. Right. Right. Love that. Love, love, love,
Yeah.
love.
And if I get caught, which I don't, but if I ever get like kind of stuck or I feel like I'm like losing the moment, I just remember you being like, take it off your partner. Just take it off your partner. If
Yeah.
you're getting in your head or you're getting over here, just like be present with, often on verticals, it's just the female lead. I have to just like zone into her and be like, where is she at right now?
And
She's
in that kind of production too, like you guys are doing 1 to 2 takes if you're lucky, right? Like, yeah.
takes.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of one and I love doing a one and done. I'm
I'm
like on a
done.
vertical set, I'm like, I'm like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
So, and then, the other thing too, I want to just get in before the end of this is like, silly dillies and big bad acting, which is two of your techniques.
And you are great.
I love that. I live for them. I'm always waiting. I'm always like,
Oh
is
my
it?
God. I'm like, I can't wait to see what you do anytime you're getting up when we're doing that in class. Yeah.
And what it's done is like in verticals, sometimes it's production's happening so fast that like often, and I won't name names, but often the director or the producers, they're like, oh, we didn't plan for this. We don't know what's happening in this scene because of big bad acting and silly dillies. And it's like melodrama with these verticals. You can go big and it's not
Yeah.
weird.
Right.
I'm often just like coming in, I'm like to the director, I'm like, what if we do this? And they're often like, great, let's do it. And like all of a sudden I'm wearing glasses and I wasn't wearing glasses. It becomes a game as long as it's a team oriented game where you're working with people. I think that's the sweet spot. You're just like, cool, we're collaborating and we're trying to figure this out. And Silly Dillies and Big Bad Acting has given me permission to do that, to just be like, let's have fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, after your experience of 2025, if you were going to give a note to somebody who was just coming into LA, what would you want them to know?
Oof, like moving to LA.
Baby, yeah.
Make sure you have a car. I've definitely lived in LA without a car. It's really intense. Um, Figure out how to get a car. And I would say that I would actually say like very clearly take an acting class. Like that is actually my number one. Why? Because even if you're like, I mean, and I actually would say Krater, which I'm literally on every vertical set being like, I hear extras and background and day players be like, I've been thinking about act, and I'm like, Krater. But like whatever, whether it's Krater or Chubbuck or whoever you want to work with, like take an acting class because being around other actors is like one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you think you're better or whatever, it doesn't matter how you feel or the opinion, just being around other actors to me just changed my life. Um and it helped create direction, Even sometimes when I'm working with an actor I'm like, ugh, they give me the ick, but like it actually helps me
Right.
understand what I don't want too.
Right. Right. And you have to be able to work with everybody.
Exactly.
you know and then let's say, and like for somebody who has worked a ton and maybe the past year has been rough on them, what would be your advice to them? Because like who's in Wednesday, right?
I do, and I have a thought, which I'm so glad. I was like hoping you would ask this question. One of the biggest breakthroughs I've had, and I've auditioned a lot this year. Like I'm gonna guess that I've had 5 to 10 auditions a week
That's great.
all year.
Exhausting, but good for you.
It's exhausting but great. Um, what I would say, the audition, the self tape specifically, I'm talking about the self tape. First off, the thing I do, I am super fucking aggressive. I don't give a shit. I will email casting. I email people. If I get something that I really like, I will immediately find someone's email and be like, hey, just so you know, I'm putting this on tape. I really appreciate all the work you've done. This is why I feel like I'd be great for this role. I will send it. Now, that might not be everybody's style, but I'm really aggressive that way. It has totally paid out in my favor.
You have been on set nonstop,
Yeah. So
which
like
is why I wanted to bring you on to do this, interview.
I email people. And then the self tape piece that's been a really big one for me is that I had this breakthrough. I watch a lot of casting videos and I watch a lot of videos of actors and directors talking about self tapes. 98% of actors are going to give a pretty good take on a self tape. 98%. If there's 100 people going for your role, which is a small amount, 98 of them are going to give a good tape. I think maybe between like 80 and 98 are going to give a solid take. The game that's hard to find out, but I think that I'm figuring it out, is like, how do you take a crate, so I'll say it this way. There's choice A, which is a solid take. There's choice C, which is like, yeah, that's interesting, kind of weird. Choice B is not expected. They don't expect B. Give them B.
Yeah.
And if you want to do a second take where you give them A, fine, but start with B as the first thing that they see, because you stand out immediately. They're like, what? Okay.
I'll watch it.
And as long as it comes from truth, which you teach an instinct,
Yeah.
you can't really go wrong. And I use a lot of props, which I know some people are anti-prop, but I get into the character. I dress as the character. For the Australian one I just booked, I fully dressed as the character and I completely committed. There's a smoking scene. I fully committed in the tape. And I also went pretty big where I needed to go. I went bigger than perhaps they're going to want on the tape, because they know they can bring me down.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who are like technically successful actors who haven't worked in a couple years, who have told me, and not anyone at Krater actually, but have told me, oh, I'm just really grounded in my takes. I'm just real. And I'm like, a lot of people are going to just be really grounded and real. And
Yeah.
and so you need to find a way to stand out, particularly in the first 3 seconds of the self tape.
Right. And clearly something that you're doing is working for you. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm taking risks, which you've taught me you've taught me it's just okay to take risks.
You
Like
have to,
you
I
have to.
think. Yeah. So going to bed after the new year rings in, what is going to be the last thing you want Marvel to know for the upcoming year in 2026?
Oh, the last thing. I
Or
mean,
like one of the first thoughts for the new
yeah.
year, I guess.
Well, I'm going to Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, not quite literally, but like I'm gonna be down under. I would say like have fun and remember to have fun. That's really the thing for me where the work really shines is just when an actor is having fun. And it's not, oh, I'm taking this like I'm not taking it seriously. You can take something really seriously and still have fun.
Yeah. You do
Um,
work really hard.
I work really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
fun. I would say have fun, yeah, and remember to sleep, although I'm pretty good about getting my sleep. But like have fun, remember to sleep. And I think part of having fun is bypassing the fear of making a mistake or bypassing the fear of trying something and the fear of oh it might not land or the fear of failure or even when the I actually have one last thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, we
I
have
did a
like,
I did a TV show in 2021 called Book of Queer, which is on HBO Max. And I got to play a lot of different characters. Really fun. It's a comedy history series. So it's about real history, but it's recreated with comedy. In Book of Queer, it was an improv scene where there was no dialogue, there was nothing written, and they were like just riff, and we're a bunch of Italian Renaissance guys in tights. It's hilarious. And I made a joke, like everyone's laughing, and I made a joke that the director just fully didn't laugh. Like he was just like and it was silent. And I made that joke and I was like, and in my mind, I was like, I thought that was pretty funny. And I felt really, I remember it was the first one of my first times on set. It was 2021. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm on a real set and this I just like I bombed. And I watched the edit, like I turned on HBO and I clicked it, and my fuck, they edited my joke in. It's like one of the only jokes. And I was like, the director didn't laugh at all, but it was really funny. And then of course, probably the team, the showrunner, and the editor was like, that's hilarious. So my point is like,
yeah.
even if you fuck up on set, it like
You
it
don't
may not
know.
actually, you
Right.
never know. You
Right.
never know. So you got to shoot your shot, basically.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
What's one of your favorite ways to take care of yourself artistically?
Ooh. I go on long walks at least 3 times a week. I go on long walks and I listen to music. I often will process, you know me, I'm very talkative. I will often process out loud. So I'll just talk out loud.
Yeah.
I don't really even care if I'm in public. I'm like, fuck it, we're processing. Because I need to hear it. So like, I'm very auditory. I need to hear it. And I also like I read and I take in like I think reading is really helpful, particularly fiction, because like you just there's so much screen time right now that it's nice to just like unplug and spend time with a book where someone's really taken the time to create a story. And yeah, certain television shows are also like incredible in that way, but I think books in particular, it takes so much time to make a book that usually that's very inspiring for me. So,
So I know that this is premature, but we are starting to work together and we actually wrote a lead for you.
yes.
And I was just curious, like, how does it feel to read something when someone knows you really well? Have you had somebody write you a role specific?
I I have not I think that yeah, no, you're right. Wow, like thank you. I realized like I'm like, yes, you're the first person. Yeah, your script is the first I've read where it was written for me.
Yeah,
And I'm so excited for this project, by the way.
yeah. We'll see
I'm
where it
so excited. And I felt so much magic in the read through because you wrote to each of the actors in Crater. And to me, I'm like, it's just a slam dunk. And it is really heartwarming. And it also reflects back to me all the work I've done in Black Chair, like just opening up and letting y'all see me and
yeah.
being honest, learning honesty and emotional vulnerability.
And the power of that, you know. Like I think that if young actors or just actors in general, like your job is to get people to know your talent. Like people need to know what you're able to bring and what triggers you and what opens you up and what delights you and what gets you rolling, like, yeah, yeah.
letting
I
yourself
couldn't,
be seen.
I
Yep.
couldn't be more proud of you, dude.
Thank you. I take it. I am excited. I'm excited. And it's only to me, I'm like, we're gonna keep chugging away. It's gonna be really fun.
Is your film shooting in Australia?
No, I wish. Oh my
Oh,
God.
okay.
I know everyone was like, "You're going to Australia," and I was like, "No, no." No, it actually technically it takes place
Yep.
in
I just got
World War II, like not
iPod.
it takes place in Nazi France, so Nazi occupied France.
Gotcha.
We're shooting Nazi occupied France in the valley. Like we're gonna be in like places that look
Genius.
wildernessy and
Oh,
like
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it was nice. We
Cool.
did rehearsals in Woodland Hills. I thought of you. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So anyway, it was just like it's fun. It's definitely gonna be it's gonna be a really awesome journey. I'm
And
really
then
excited.
how long is the production?
It's 3 weeks in January, but I do think that it's going to end up being like they said to me, kind of, they were like, we're probably going to do pickups in February. So I think it'll
Good.
probably, my guess is pickups in February. So it's going to be kind of a 2 month endeavor, but I'm so excited. So
Love it.
excited.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. All
Yeah.
right. Well, Marvel, I so appreciate your time. Right. And you guys have a beautiful new year.
We will.
And I can't wait to see where you go in 2026. I'm so proud of you.
And I'm excited to come back to class as always. As
Love it.
always.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. All
Okay.
right.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Lots of love
See
to
you
you and
later.
Paolo and the family. All
Thanks,
right.
son.
Take care.
Okay.